Greetings, barbecue family. Welcome to another live episode of the Backyard Smokemaster Barbecue Podcast. I'm your host, Kenyatta Robinson. Happy Friday. I can't believe it's already January 31st. One a month is already gone in 2025, but I do hope that you are having a good year so far. And I'm very happy that you are spending some time with me today in what I consider to be the best hour of the week. This is the hour that I get to hang out with you guys live and talk about my favorite subject, barbecue. So I welcome you all who are tuning in. Appreciate you. Feel free to jump in. As I always say, you guys are the engine. Your comments are the engine that drives the show. And let's get in here and say some hellos to some folks who are watching. I appreciate the comments and you guys digging the introductory music. Appreciate that. Always good to see you, Bruce, aka Correctional Officer for Lockdown. Good to see Joe Silva, Q Bellies, and I'm gonna talk about Joe in a few moments. Let's say hi to Paul. Good to see you. And wow, all of you guys are also members of the Backyard Smokemaster Society. So I do appreciate that. And here's another member. Here's Jeff. So greetings to you all. I appreciate you all for tuning in. So let me get right into it for today. I do want to talk about gravity charcoal smokers. You know, I'd heard a little bit about them. I knew that they kind of function like a pellet grill, pellet smoker. You know, they've got kind of the same electronics, easy temperature control, but just had not seen one up close and personal until this past weekend. And so this past weekend, let me tell you guys about that. Joe Silva of Q Bellies Barbecue had invited me, and he'd been trying to get me to come down and cook with him, ever since, he's been a friend. He was my first guest on the podcast. And, whenever we interact, Joe was always, encouraging me to come down, wishing we could get together and do that. So I was thrilled, and I made a point, to go down to Southern California and hang out with Joe for his birthday. And I think what they do is a really cool thing. And let me actually get a picture of Joe up here. Let's see. So actually I have a picture, and this is the Backyard Smokemaster Society. Like I said, this is our membership, kind of like Facebook, but not on Facebook. It's very specific to barbecue. And let's scroll down here. We got some posts. There he is. There's my man, Joe. So very cool thing that they do in Southern California, Joe, and I think they're like the original 12. I might be getting some of this story wrong, but I guess a couple of years ago, 12 guys who all, are passionate backyard barbecue pit masters, they decided to try and get together on a regular basis, cook barbecue, hang out, chop it up, just have a great time together. And, admittedly, that's kind of hard to do every month. And now it's kind of trickled down to where it's more like occasions. Like if it's somebody's birthday, they'll have this gathering. And that's exactly what happened this past weekend. So it was Joe's birthday came, and he hosted the party. And boy, let me tell you, I know a lot of people think that I have a pretty good layout in my backyard when it comes to grills and smokers. My setup ain't got nothing on what Joe's got going on. He's got the perfect setup. He's got all types of grills and smokers, just about every variety that you can think of. And, the guys came, they hung out folks cooked. Joe made me do some cooking over a live fire, which is something I had never done before. But man, I had a great time, and I know you guys, like Jeff and Bruce, are always talking about trying to get me to do the pig picking party. Well, Joe did it. He did it. As you see in this picture, he's got this massive offset smoker, and he had, I think it was like a 30 to 35 pound hog in there, and he was smoking that thing all night. Unfortunately, I couldn't stick around to the very end. It was getting cold. It was dark. It was rainy. I had Janine with me. She actually ended up catching a cold, and I could tell she was suffering. So I kind of had to bail. But I did see some pictures. I saw some video, and it's just as you would imagine. And it just, everything was awesome. And everything that I tried, all the food was awesome. So big shout out to you, Joe. I really appreciate you encouraging me to come down and hang out with you guys. And boy, I'd love to actually try and do something similar up here in the Bay Area, whether it's with Backyard Smoke Master Society members or others, but that was a really, really good time. So while I was there, Joe has a master built gravity smoker, and he had it going. It was set up. He asked me to do a tri-tip. Didn't tell me it was Wagyu, which I've never even tasted before, but that's okay. So I put the Wagyu tri-tip on and finished it off over live fire. But it gave me a chance to see the Master Chef, the Master Chef smoker up close and personal. And boy, I was impressed. I was really impressed, and I decided that what I'd like to do is actually take a closer look at the benefits of gravity charcoal smokers. So that's what we're going to get into today. Let's see. Let me get into the comments, though, because I see a lot of stuff going on. Let's see what we got. Let's see. It's like, sounded like maybe there were some issues with the stream. I know a lot of times, when you live stream, I know on YouTube, I'm not sure about Facebook, but if you're catching us on YouTube, I know sometimes the connection can be a little rough at the beginning. So hopefully we've gotten through the rough patches there. Let's see, because Bruce said that his connection was buffering. Old Fashioned Coffee Pot said his too. Joe said same thing. Wow. Okay, Paul said he restarted and it helped. Okay. Good to see. Old Fashioned Coffee Pot. I love that name. That's clever. Says that my stream is smooth now. Okay, so that's good. That's good to hear. Okay, and then we got some questions coming in for Joe with regard to his gravity charcoal smoker as to whether or not it's stock or modded, and Joe's is stock. Okay. All right, so hopefully the connection is coming through okay, nice and smooth. Just let me know in the comments. Not quite sure, what I can do, but if it does get really bad, then, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to take some alternative measures. Okay, but let's get into this. So let me get my bearings together here. Okay, so just to kind of give you guys an overview of gravity charcoal smokers. So there are a lot of benefits. I really, I don't know if there are really any cons. From what I could tell, just seems really ideal. But similar to a pellet smoker, a gravity charcoal smoker gives you a set it and forget it experience. And what that basically means is consistent temperatures. So just like a pellet smoker, it's got like an electronic controller. and then it will do all the work for you of making any adjustments in terms of the oxygen that's coming into the firebox to make sure that it stays within an acceptable range to keep the temperature exactly where you want it. So consistent temperature, precise temperature control. And I found it, and I saw this with my own two eyes, it is very ideal for long cooks. Here it says large charcoal hoppers can hold enough fuel for up to 10, 12 hours of cooking, which is ideal for low and slow barbecue sessions. I did take a peek inside of Joe's, inside of the hopper there. It was filled with lump. He had it rolling at 275 degrees, and it was not churning through the charcoal. So, Joe, you'll have to let me know if at any point during the day, the night, if you had to go and refill it. But from what I could tell, it did look like it was definitely going to last for that amount of time. Hopefully you guys can see this comment, but Joe said, "It was an honor to host and hang with you. Such a good time with all the people and food. So glad I got you to cook open fire. Good times, bro." It was definitely a good time. Definitely appreciated, love having that experience. Absolutely. And Old Fashioned Coffee Pot says, "I enjoy hearing the pros talk. My smoking experience consists of 4 briskets, some good, some not so good. The 3 turkeys I did were awesome." Well, first, I thank you for tuning in, Old Fashioned Coffee Pot. Don't be a stranger. This is what we do on Fridays, same time, same place. Every Friday, we just get together and we like to chop it up and talk about barbecue. You guys in the comments might have some tips for Old Fashioned Coffee Pot when it comes to briskets. I mean, brisket is, the king. Brisket is king, I think, when it comes to barbecue, at least in terms of the experience, right? Because it kind of forces you to, take advantage of all of your skills, fire management, control. It's a super long cook, so that requires some patience, some decisions you have to make throughout the process about when to wrap, whether to wrap, when to spritz, what to spritz with. Are you going to wrap with butcher paper? Are you going to wrap with aluminum foil? Or maybe you're going to do something in between, kind of like the foil boat method, which kind of gives you aluminum around the base of the brisket, but leaving the top uncovered, kind of gives you the best of both worlds. So lots of options, lots of things come up when doing a brisket. But let's keep this going. Okay. So with Gravity Smokers, again, some more benefits. Versatility. Well, let me get rid of that. Okay, versatility. You can do smoking, grilling, searing. They can, in addition to being great for low and slow, most of them do reach hot enough temperatures to allow you to do some searing, steaks or burgers, in addition to low and slow smoking. And some models will even give you the opportunity to add on, get some add-ons like griddles for even more versatility. Wide temperature ranges. So again, you can go super slow, low and slow. You can do things like delicate fish at low temperatures, or you can sear your steak off at high temperatures, all in the same smoker, which I think is pretty similar to what we've seen with the progression of pellet smokers through the years. All right, Joe says, "I think we used 1.5 bags of lump plus a couple of wood chunks intermixed. This was over 10 hours. Absolutely insane. I highly recommend the Master Built Gravity Series 1150. Okay, and I am going to show some of the master built smokers that are available. So I couldn't remember which model that Joe has. So it looks like it's the 1150. And I think the 1150 refers to the amount of the cooking square inches. So I think that means it has 1150 square inches. All right. Now, in the Backyard Smoke Master Society, yeah, I did show off some pictures of the food, the video. Of course, this was legendary. The pastrami, the what was it? It was, I think it was, I want to say short rib. I think it was like a short rib pastrami chili dog with all the fixings. Man, that thing was good. And yeah, it was good. So I'm sorry, you guys. The best I could do is just kind of show off the pictures in the video. That's the best I could do. But it was truly awesome. Okay, now I think this is one of the best benefits about gravity charcoal smokers is that you're using real charcoal. So you get, the same ease of cooking experience that you get with a pellet smoker. But, even though pellet smokers have come a long way, the technology has advanced over the years and they're getting fancier and fancier. There's still one thing that a pellet smoker will never be able to compete with a charcoal-based smoker in that smoke flavor. Now, you guys know I do have a relationship with Smoking Pecans, and, go to smokingpecan.com. I think my affiliate link is Backyard Smoke. It's either Backyard Smoke or I'm pretty sure it's Backyard Smoke. But anyway, if you want to try it out and get a discount, holler at me and I'll give you the exact code because I can't remember off the top of my head. And it does give, because it's made with authentic, the shells of pellets. So it does give more of the smoke than what you get with kind of like everyone else's pellets. But that being said, it still cannot match, the authentic smoke flavor you're going to get, when cooking with charcoal and, like Joe said, intermingled with wood chunks. Just no comparison. So I think this is a huge, huge benefit for the gravity smokers. Okay, and then as we talked about, fuel efficiency is another big benefit, like I said, and like Joe can attest, these things are not motoring through the charcoal at all. Very efficient, and they do go, your charcoal will go a long way. Okay, let me see. Let's get into some more of these comments before I get too far behind. So Old Fashioned Coffee Pot responding to Jeff says that it's his only smoker. Kind of looks like R2-D2 having a meltdown when it's rocking. So I kind of missed it. Are we talking about, do you have a charcoal gravity smoker, or are we talking about a different type of smoker? I missed that part. Let's see. Okay, Joe confirms that his says that, his master built is 1,150 square feet. All right, we're still talking about that chili dog, which was legendary. All right, now Joe says it was even better. That's right, with his mustard sauce. That's right. That's another thing, guys. So Joe is not just your average backyard pit master. This man is an entrepreneur. He's doing it from all aspects. He's got his catering truck now. He's doing jobs. So if you're in the Southern California area, definitely look up Q Bellies. Got a wonderful Instagram site. Joe has a fantastic rub. His jalapeno rub is off the hook, outstanding. I've tried it with my chicken. As a matter of fact, I saw another reel. I think Joe was doing this reel is probably old, but you had a spatchcocked chicken, you had your jalapeno rub, and then I think you finished it off with another guy that was there. He gave me his barbecue sauce. It was like a chipotle barbecue sauce, and I need to make that because it looked absolutely fantastic. So anyway, if you really want to get inspiration on your barbecue, check out Q Bellies, guys. Check him out. Okay, Old Fashioned Coffee Pot says, where I live, beaked hazelnut grows thickly, and his best turkey was smoked with hazelwood chunks. Okay, now that's a first for me. I have not heard. I'm really not familiar with hazelwood chunks, but that is good. Love when you're able to do kind of like your own, put your own twist on it, right? Because most of us are out here smoking with, oak chunks or hickory, pecan, kind of your more, cherry, apple. But yeah, if you're able to get, kind of like a different type of chunk like hazelwood, I mean, I think that, smoke basically is another ingredient. So that gives you a unique ingredient, another unique flavor. So definitely kudos to you on that. All right. Let's see. Okay. Kind of feel like we talked about this, but yeah, ease of use and, like in this photo. So just like pellet smokers, you can control, I mean, this isn't something that I do, but for the guys that, where this, attracts them, you can control your gravity charcoal smoker with your phone. For me, just being able to punch in the temperature right there on the smoker is good enough for me. But yeah, so that's another attraction is, the mobile, the ability to connect, the mobile connections. That's another big attraction. Easy cleanup, ash and grease management is typically pretty straightforward. All right, so consider a gravity charcoal smoker if you want the convenience of a pellet grill with the authentic flavor of charcoal. You'll enjoy long smoking sessions without constant monitoring. If you want a versatile cooker that can handle a variety of cooking styles, if you appreciate the flavor and tradition of cooking with real charcoal, to me that's a huge plus. So keep in mind, though, that gravity charcoal smokers can be more expensive than traditional charcoal grills, as we've talked about a lot, especially if you're first getting started. You can pick up a Weber kettle, $150. You might even find one, like on Craigslist or OfferUp, where you can pick one up at a even less expensive price, maybe $50, $60. So, the entry into barbecuing with charcoal smokers doesn't have to be high, and you can do it with great quality. But here, I think the additional investment that you might put into a gravity charcoal smoker is well worth it, because you're paying for the technology and the ease of use. Like I said, it's doing all the work of keeping that temperature under control for you. So those are some benefits. So from what I can tell, I think right now, Masterbuilt is definitely one of the main companies that you would look at if you wanted to get a charcoal gravity smoker. So let me get into this here. So over on their website, and they do have a number of different models. So Joe has the Gravity Series 1150, and that goes for $1,000. And master builts are, I think they're typically, you can find them, at Ace Hardware, not Ace, well, maybe Ace Hardware. Actually, I meant to say Home Depot, Lowe's. I know that they are frequently found there, maybe even over on Amazon. Of course, you can also order direct from Masterbuilt. And, this podcast is not sponsored by Masterbuilt. I'm just excited. I liked what I saw. And here's the thing. Okay, so Joe has the 1150. And I honestly thought that maybe he had one of these larger ones because it felt like it had plenty of cooking space, plenty of cooking real estate because they've got some larger ones. They've got this XT. I'm not sure how big that is, but that one's $1,500. So they've got the 600. So maybe that's the entry level one over here for $700. So they've got a pretty good variety of choices, that you can select from. So you can get in and, have some good options. All right, let me jump back in here into these comments because you guys got it going in the comments, which I do always appreciate the community that we're having, in the podcast. So love to see that. And like I said, if you want to take that experience to another step, because the party doesn't have to stop when the podcast is over. You can jump on over into the Backyard Smoke Master Society, and you can do that by going to backyardsmokemaster.com/society to get more information about how to join. Basically, you can get in and, really level up your barbecue discussions with the community, talking about grills, smokers, recipes, getting inspiration, get motivated. We have monthly virtual meetups, which are a lot like the podcast, except think of it more like Zoom, where we all can turn on our cameras and, see each other, hear each other, show off what we're cooking if we want to. So it's just a great time, and you can get in for the cost of a couple of coffees. We're not talking an exorbitant amount. So if that's something that interests you, would love to see you in the society. But okay, let's see. Now getting back to what I was talking about with Q Belly's rub. So here's a testimonial from Jeff, who said that jalapeno rub is great, one of the best I've tried on chicken and turkey. And Joe says he hasn't tried it with turkey yet, but yeah, I'm pretty confident that it would go outstanding with turkey as well. And also check out Q Belly's mustard sauce, because Jeff says it's great on sausage and pepper sandwiches too, not just gourmet hot dogs. All right, let me get into this. Okay, so Joe says, yeah, I'm throwing that 288-gallon smoker on a trailer soon. Plus adding a Santa Maria with a wood box and a spot for a generator food warmer. This will be for festivals and such. Man, that is so cool. What I love is that, when I first met Joe, he had just decided, that he was going to go and do this for a living full time. And it's just been fantastic watching the progression, and that it's going well. And, Joe is reinvesting in his equipment, and like the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. So that is awesome. Totally fantastic. Really appreciate it. Okay. Bruce, correctional officer for lockdown, says, Lone Star Grills makes an awesome gravity charcoal smoker with water ports. Do water pans really make a big impact on charcoal gravity fed smokers. Now, I'm not sure. I know the idea behind having a water pan is that you're adding some humidity to the inside of your cooking chamber. I know, using a water pan like with a Weber Smoky Mountain is very common. I mean, that's pretty much the way it's designed. So I would imagine that it probably does make a difference. I'm sure. I mean, obviously, you can go either way. So I don't know if anybody else who's watching has any experience with the gravity charcoal smokers and cooking with water. Now, I had not heard that LSG makes a gravity charcoal smoker. Now, I know they have a pellet smoker, so I'll have to check that out because they make outstanding smokers. So that sounds pretty interesting. Okay. So again, Masterbuilt, they definitely have a variety of different sizes that you can pick from. So definitely something to fit every budget. Now let's see. Okay, I thought I had it queued up and ready to go, but I guess I didn't. All right, so the other really popular or well-known gravity smoker manufacturer would be Myron Mixon Smokers. And of course, he's well known for his water-based smokers. So I don't know if his gravity smokers, if they have a water feature. But as you can see here, his are kind of like next level, right? Because we're talking 6,000, 7,000, 5,000, 10,000, all the way up to $13,000, to get one of his gravity smokers. So let me just take a look at this one here. That's $5,000. Military grade insulation, stainless hardware. It says it can hold 12 pounds of charcoal in the chute. Double sealed fire door. Yeah, removable water pan. So true to kind of what he's known for. It has a water feature and a slam latch door, integrated wire port. So I know that's outside of, that's going to be outside of my budget. I think if I get a gravity charcoal smoker, I'll be looking at one of those Masterbuilts. And like Joe has that 1150. So that might be the sweet spot for sure. All right. All right, guys. So let me know in the comments. Like I said, I got pretty excited, seeing the Masterbuilt in action. Definitely impressed. Like I have 2 pellet smokers. Love them. Love the ease, the convenience, on a weeknight, after working all day, being able to fire up the pellet smoker for an easy cook. And then there are just some things I like to do on my pellet smoker because, it does all the work of keeping the temperature for me. One of the first things I taught myself was to do smoked bacon. And we're talking like perfectly rendered out bacon. And that's pretty easy to do on a pellet smoker. But from what I can see, the gravity charcoal smokers offer all of the exact same features, benefits of a pellet smoker. But again, they're just easy to use. And then they also provide that added benefit that you're actually cooking with charcoal. And what I also liked from what I saw with Joe, and I assume that, these can take both briquettes and lump. I mean, pretty much everything can usually take briquettes, but he was using lump charcoal with his. Now, lump typically burns hotter than briquettes, but even so, Joe had it set at 275, And so, and I'm assuming, I don't know, Joe, if you've used lump charcoal with yours, have you gone lower? Have you tried to do 250 or 225 using lump charcoal? Would love to know. So again, let me know in the comments, are you guys, if you are thinking about getting a pellet smoker, so typically what I would say, like I hear people, talking about maybe getting a gas grill. And then I would always say, don't bother with gas. If you want something that's set it and forget it, easy to use, get a pellet smoker instead of getting gas, especially now that pellet smokers can do both low and slow, and they can get temperatures, up over 400 degrees. Some can get, up to 500 degrees. So, they're able to get plenty hot now. But now that I've my eyes have been opened about the gravity smokers, I'm thinking, don't just stop at a pellet smoker. You should also be considering a charcoal-based smoker as well. So, okay. So that's, those are my 2 cents on that. All right. Now, again, we don't have to just talk about these charcoal smokers. If there's something else you have a question on, definitely throw it in the comments while we're here. If I don't have an answer on it, I'm sure there's somebody in the comments that might have the experience with whatever it is that you're thinking about getting involved with. All right. So Joe says, actually, let me see if I can make that a little bigger. Hopefully that'll make it easier to read. Okay, Joe said, I've had the Char Griller Gravity series before and now the Master Built. The Char Griller was great, but this Master Built is on another level. I love that I get that charcoal wood flavor while chilling. And, what I found actually is, Char Griller and Master Built, they're the same company. They're one and the same. And from what I can tell, at least when I went on the Char Griller website, seems like they're kind of seeding, their experience, or they're seeding their position with gravity smokers to the Master Built side. At least that, from what I could tell, kind of seemed like they're not pushing as many. Like I think this one right here, the Gravity Fed 980, I think this might be the only gravity charcoal smoker that Char Griller still sells. And then I don't know, like I said, I know they're made by the same company. I don't know what the difference, or kind of like what the, how they differentiate themselves. I mean, I kind of get the sense that maybe Master Built is kind of considered the step up. Not sure. Kind of like in the truck world, you've got the Chevy Silverado, and then you've got the GMC Denali, Sierra Denali, which kind of seems like you get kind of more electronic, technological bells and whistles, a little more of a step up on the GMC side. So I don't know. Maybe it's kind of similar with the difference between the Char Griller and the Master Built. I'm sorry, I thought I was screen sharing. So here it is. So the Gravity Fed 980 charcoal grill. So this one's $800 from Char Griller. And like I said, I think this might be the only one that they're still selling. Looks like you can get it at Lowe's. So even on their website, it doesn't even look like it's something you can order direct, from Char Griller at this point. And then Joe says, I haven't done anything other than lump, only because lump is my thing. I think there are good reasons, to stick with lump, no additives, more natural, kind of, exactly, what kind of smoke you're imparting onto your food. It says, I usually only use briquettes to use as a base in my offset or searing steaks sometimes, but the gravity will only be fed lump. Yeah, totally get that. And yeah, I lean more towards lump as well. I mean, I do have briquettes, and usually nowadays when I use my offset, I don't even use the briquettes anymore in the offset. I'm trying to think. Yeah, don't really have too many like dedicated use cases for briquettes. I just still have a lot of it in my garage, so from time to time I'll use it because I do want to use it up. Okay, Bruce says, is searing possible with the master built smoker? So again, based on my understanding, I think they probably can handle searing because they do get pretty hot. But let me go back. Let's see. Master built Gravity series. Let's go straight to the 1150 that Joe has. Okay, and then, yeah, it says here it has the power to sear at high heats up to 700 degrees, and then it says you can do low and slow to 225 degrees. So, yeah, like I said, it seems to be able to accommodate, both cooking styles. Absolutely. You can go hot and fast. You can go low and slow. Yeah, and Joe says, yeah, it does go pretty high for a sear. Now, speaking of sear, so let me get back to, when I was over at Joe's and he had me out there over that live fire. And I know Joe is a live fire cook. Let's see. I think I had a picture, and he had just got that live fire up and going. Here's some more pictures. There's Porky on his way. There's his, what is it, 225 gallon offset smoker. Oh man, okay. Well, I can't remember. I don't know where I stuck those pictures. I could swear I posted some pictures of myself over the live fire. But anyway, it was rip roaring hot. I mean, I think it was probably going like 700 and something degrees. And now here where I'm kind of going to put myself out on blast, because Joe knows, and I've talked about it on the podcast. This is just kind of how I grew up. I'm a well done guy. I like my steaks well done. I know that's sacrilege to a lot of you. I think that's probably why I usually do fillets, because I think even a well done fillet is going to be super tender. Take my word for it. It is true. I know you'll never try it. But yeah, so that was the thing. Rip roaring hot. But, Joe gave me great advice, said, just go with your instincts, don't worry about the temperature and all of that stuff, just sear it until it looks the way you want. And that's what I did. I mean, I don't think too many people were complaining. It might have gone a little bit over, but, no, I thought it turned out great, and what I appreciated the most about the whole experience was it just got me fired up. It's the inspiration, it's being around other folks who really love to barbecue, and it just, it got me fired up. and the inspiration and all of that is really what I'm hoping to do here with the podcast. So I really appreciated it. Okay, so Joe says, giving us some more tips from who I now consider, my barbecue Obi-Wan Kenobi Yoda. So Joe says, I like getting briquettes super hot, laying them down, and then tossing some splits over them. Gets the fire going real quick. Yeah, maybe I'll go back to that. When I first got my offset smoker, that's pretty much what I was doing. I was using briquettes initially, but then I just, because I do like lump charcoal, I started to use lump, probably because I was thinking I wanted to get my small fire hot so that I could get these splits going, and you want to get them, burned down, the initial ones, burned down into coals, and you want to get that clean smoke. But now the more I think about it, it probably does make sense to use briquettes at the start. So I do appreciate that. I think maybe I'm going to have to play around with that, using them to basically help get that fire going. And I think another benefit of using briquettes, briquettes don't burn as hot as lump does. And so that'll help, especially like in the summertime, making sure that you're kind of gradually building that heat in the firebox. And because usually when I use my offset, I'm thinking I want to use it for low and slow, and I like to keep the temperature, no more than 250 on average. And I think that would actually be easier to do if I got my fire started using briquettes. So I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. Okay, Joe confirms, his offset smoker, 288 gallons. Yeah, that's a bad boy for real. And that was another thing, a part of my inspiration. I have the Lone Star Grill's 20 by 42, which is basically it's a small offset smoker with a small firebox. Really, the wood splits that you put in it should be really no more than 10 inches long. Anything longer than that, you're going to have some problems. Ideal to put them inside of like a V-shaped crate. What's the word? Fire. I don't know. I'm blanking on the word, but basically you want to have like the metal thing. It's kind of shaped like a V. You put your coals in there with your wood splits, and the idea is that it's going to help you contain a small fire, a small controlled fire. But what I saw with Joe's 288 Beast here is consistently throughout the day, when he added splits, he was still getting a clean, thin blue smoke, almost invisible. At no point, did it look like that smoke was coming out, kind of like a gray, a dirty smoke. So I'm also now convinced not just about the benefits of gravity smokers, but I'm also convinced that larger offsets like this 288 gallon beast, once you get that fire going, it's going to be easier to have a controlled, clean smoke. And then, of course, you saw it. It's large. So you're able to have things like a whole hog, which I think I can get a suckling pig into my LSG. I think one as large as the one Joe was smoking is probably going to be a challenge. And then also just being able to keep the temperatures really low and slow can be more of a challenge with a smaller offset than a larger one. And another cool thing is that with Joe's offset, it was easy for him to basically have like two zones. Kind of had a cooler side over on the left, and that's where he started his hog on the left side. And then when he wanted to kind of ramp up the cook, after it had taken in some good smoke flavor, good color, he moved it over to the right side, which is closer to the firebox, where he was able to have hotter temperatures. So I don't know what the difference in temperature was from the left to the right, but I know that it was definitely enough to definitely make a difference. So you had two distinct zones. All right. Joe convincing me that tri-tip came out great. So I appreciate that. And kudos to him because Joe had pre-seasoned it, and that's probably why it turned out great. I'm pretty sure he probably used his jalapeno rub. So yeah, that was the easy part. Let's see. With regard to this 288-gallon smoker, Bruce asks, how many probes do you usually use on that 288-gallon Bradley tank of yours? And is that smokestack collapsible? So I don't think that the stack is going to be collapsible. And that's another thing that I like is that it's a nice tall. It's a tall smokestack, so it's going to be drawing that air across the smoker, which facilitates the separate cooking zones. So, Joe gave me a lot of inspiration, and I'm trying to decide what my next smoker is going to be. Is it going to be a charcoal-based cabinet smoker? Maybe a master built, maybe a larger offset smoker. I don't know if it's going to be 288 gallons, but kind of got me thinking. All right, and the funny, Joe says, probes aren't welcomed near that tank. So we're doing old school, traditional style, no probes. And I imagine that even if you wanted to put like a wireless thermometer in there, probably not going to get good signal readings because we're talking good old-fashioned American steel. Yep. All right. Yeah, the smokestack stays firmly in place. So if you are thinking about an offset smoker, a large one like this, you definitely need to make sure you've got, the real estate inside of your yard to accommodate it. And yeah, state it just like a true grill general, the true Yoda, barbecue Yoda. That's Joe, Q Bellies. Okay, Jeff asks, do you warm the split up off to the side or on top of the firebox before adding it? I've heard it helps them catch quick and keep the smoke clean. So I've got my thoughts on this, but let me see what Joe said. Yep, I have splits on the firebox in this picture. Always have them hot and ready to add. Yeah, so I agree with that. Definitely. You want to add your splits. You want to pre-warm them because then when you do add them to the fire, they're going to light really fast. And that's just going to keep everything rolling like a well-oiled machine. And yeah, you can either put them on top of the firebox or another option, especially with a large firebox like what we see from Joe, is you can put it off to the side. You have your fire going, a small contained fire, and then there's usually enough space, off to the side of where your fire is where you can put a split to get it warmed up. But yeah, either way, off to the side, on top, definitely get your splits ready to go. All right, old-fashioned coffee pot said, yep, man, that's a sweet smoker. I totally agree. Totally agree. All right, guys. Well, I hope this podcast was inspiring to you, as inspiring to you as it was to me last week when I was out there hanging out with Joe. Again, I really had a great time, and I look forward to coming back down. And everybody was, was cool. Really nice group of guys. Everybody just loving Q, and it always speaks to what I say about people who are passionate about the art, the science of barbecue. Just salt of the earth people, nice people. We're trying to make good, outstanding food that's going to make our friends and our loved ones happy. So hopefully you took some inspiration from today's show. Again, come back if this was your first time, like Old Fashioned Coffee Pot. I think you might be a new viewer, so definitely welcome you to come back and, hang out with us again next week. Same time, same station. And again, if you want to keep the party going, you can get into the Backyard Smokemaster Society. Check us out. Go to backyardsmokemaster.com/society to get more information. Thank you all for tuning in to tonight's episode. This is Kenyatta Robinson. Take care. Get out there. Enjoy your grills and smokers. And I will see you very soon.